Hello fellow humans and welcome to the CC1 Mark II, because Italians. Now this vehicle is between the great SMV CC64 and the not so great Minotauro. Now how good is this vehicle? Well, let's find it out, let's have a look at the stats and then let's play it, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I personally would use the calibrated, you get a bit more penetration so that the few shots you have get through better. Then obviously these three are a lock-in all the time. Obviously, toolbox is refined gun and accuracy list is a must-have. Enhanced gun laying drive always, and then improved assembly. And I would really pick the defense system. Let's have a look at the stats, and obviously put the Minotauro back here as well. Now, the penetration is relatively average for tier 9 heavy tanks, so nothing special here. 450 alpha damage, which is nice to have for a tier 9. And then you got the 3 shells with 3.5 seconds interclip, which is the same as the Minotauro. Now, this vehicle is more accurate than the Minotauro as well, as you can see right here. I mean, an IS-8 is faster, and it's even sometimes slower than an ML2. So in terms of mobility, we don't have any. The armor on this tank is, well, pretty good, actually. I mean, the lower plate's 250, which you can be effective against tier 8. Upper plate, 270, so it's not really in, like, Minotauro kind of armor classes. However, obviously, again, you can pen the Minotauro with premium ammo as well, so, you know. Now, the turret on this thing, 350, that is pretty damn strong for a tier 9. Tier 8s are not going to be able to get through this at all, which is nice. However, tier 10s, your good old heat round is going to butter, for the most part, straight through the front right here, if you use the right heat round. So, turret, very good, at 7 degrees of gun depression. It does get a bit more angled, however, this plate down here is about 320. So, you know, if you face a T-57 heavy or something that has high penetration heat rounds, be a bit careful. However, other than that, the turret armor is pretty damn good. Now, the cupolas up here, this is nothing. You know, this is just a ear. This is just ears. I would assume it's kind of a radio. But the cupolas are at the back, so you don't really have any cupolas, which is a great thing. So the front armor is pretty solid. Side armor, not so much. Side armor on this is horrible. Now, firstly start off with the biggest tragedy and the most unfair thing to ever happen to Italian tanks in World of Tanks Blitz, because in real life, if you're Italian and you start losing, you simply switch teams. However, you can't do that in Blitz, which in my opinion is disappointing. Now, disappointing is also a word that you can use for this vehicle's general mobility and gun. Now, the armor is pretty solid at the front. The side obviously doesn't have any armor. However, the front is just about fine, and the turret is pretty damn well armored. So if you use your 7 degrees of gun depression, you're going to have a pretty good platform right there. However, after that, you don't have much. Now, ideally, this is one of those tanks, and I mean, this is how it works for pretty much any tank if you want to be super unicum. Don't fight anyone. Ideally, if you want to play really well, you'll look, where are your enemies? And who are the enemies fighting? If it's not you, you're going to attack that enemy, because if the enemy is busy with your teammates, you can farm damage from that guy without being shot yourself. That's the ways of the Super Unicum. Yup. Now, obviously, if everyone plays like that, you end up with what happens in raiding battles, which is bad. Bad is another word you can use for this tank's mobility, because it can't turn. Like, the traverse speed of this vehicle is absolutely horrible, and that does make sense given how long it is. Generally, the longer you have a tracked vehicle, the worse it turns. So, at this point, it doesn't turn well. At all. Which means you've got to play it a bit more passive, right? You go in too deep, it's gonna hurt, and there is no way back. That didn't come out right. Anyway, so you basically can't undo mistakes. You can't reposition if you got yourself into a bad spot, which, I mean, is true for a lot of heavy tanks as well, but then at least you're going to have a gun that is actually competent. With this thing, as you can see, if no one's really fighting you, so at the early stages of the battle, you'll be just about fine. However, the second someone starts shooting at you, you're maybe going to try to run. However, you can't run because you can't turn, and your mobility is about on the level of an ML2, which doesn't have the armor either, but it at least has an auto reloader that works. Because here's the thing, the well, cuck shell, or as Wargaming calls it, reserve shell, you can't really use it. 22 seconds, I mean, it's there, but again, it is a reserve shell. I don't think it is a good idea. Auto reloaders work, auto loaders work, single shotguns work. I'm not a big fan of the, well, the cuck shell. I will keep calling it that until they remove it. So, at this point, some things should not be tried twice, right? We tried the missiles with a T-49A, and you know what happened when we tried it twice. Now let's wait about 50 minutes for the shells to actually reload, because, I mean, that's not great. However, if you have the space, if you have the time, it is a very boring playstyle that these vehicles have. If you have the time, if you got the space, you can reload, and then you can send off bangers like that into the Leopard. And obviously, he's not going to have a great time with that, and you can get damage quite quickly if you get stuff like that. Because, I mean, the HE rounds are not special, but they're fine. You can pen light tanks, certain medium tanks, and sometimes even heavy tanks with it. Now, can I recommend this tank? Because obviously, I definitely recommend the tier 8. Now with the tier 9, I don't know. Here's the thing. If you like the ML2, to all three of you, how? Now, if you like the ML2, imagine the ML2 not being able to turn its turret and not being able to fire its third shell. That's kind of what this tank is. Also, it doesn't have the gun depression. You can see where this is going. I don't know. Like, and it's, again, with the Minotauro, like, why would you play that auto reloader when you can just get a Kronvag and have pretty much all the downsides removed? Well, not all of them, but most of them. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of these. Now, the Type 71 did turn out to be pretty damn effective because of its armor, and this thing can also be pretty damn effective because of its armor. Right? The armor is outstanding, especially on the turret. Now, if you can play it like that, if you can keep all of your enemies in front of you, if you can make sure that you have the time to reload, you know, that you have that time, you can take the time to reload, then this thing can work out really, really well. Also, make sure that you're not the one that gets shot at. Like, that's just how it works. If you want to be a really good player, use your teammates to do the dirty work for you and then yeet all the damage. That's how it works. So, at this point, I can't recommend it. I don't think this is a good concept of tank. If this would have a single shotgun, and it maybe could turn a bit faster, right? I mean, I don't mind the non-fully traversable turret. You have that on the T110E4 as well. But, yeah, maybe what I would do to this tank is get rid of the reserve shots, make it 2 shots. Just make it 2 shots and allow it to turn a bit. But at that point, you can get the M5 Yor, which is an absolutely amazing tank. See the problem? So, yeah, there are better options like a Kronwagen or a Yor, and calling Kronwagen a better option, that's already something. However, the Yor's great, the 57 Heavy is great. You know, there isn't any auto-reloading tank destroyers yet. Maybe there shouldn't be. So I personally can't recommend this tank. However, if you want to try it out and if you're a solid player, I can't stop you. And, but I will stop you from buying crates. And I should stop that guy from doing that. Okay, I mean, do your job. Ban that guy. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. And to this tank, I say, it's about fine. It'll do if you want it to. However, there are better things out there in life and better things to spend your time on. Bye-bye.